Hi guys! So this is the final installment of a discussion on race and disability, and I'm really excited because today I'll be speaking to Ashley Archer, a really cool guy that I haven't spoken to in a while, but we have quite a lot of history because he used to do wheelchair racing, and he was an amazing wheelchair racer, really. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing his perspective on things, especially as a man, a black man with a disability as well. I think that his view on recent events will be a bit different, and just it will be really good to find out about his experiences. For example, if he's experienced much racism or ableism. So give us a wave when you're here. Hi. Hi Mo. Hi Danny. Hi Taylor. Yep, cool. So he's here. It's coming. Hey.
Hey, how you doing, man? You alright?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How you keeping?
Yeah, I'm good. I was saying just before we started properly that we've got a bit of
Yeah,
history through racing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember you was really young, starting out, man.
I know.
Very proud. You're doing so well, man.
Oh, thank you. Honestly, I
No,
remember
seriously.
even you though. You were just smashing it like all the time, winning.
Yeah, it's getting old though, man.
Uh, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Dealing with the lockdown.
Yeah.
Same old. But yeah, I'm alright. How are you, though? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's quite strange, isn't it? Every day is kind of the same at the moment.
Yeah, I've just been doing up my house. DIY, DIY, DIY.
Nice. At least that's keeping you busy.
Yeah, but I run out now, so I'm like, what do I do now?
What to do? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
But then in sport, obviously, you've done quite a lot, haven't you? Like you've done racing, basketball, motorsport. And I remember you saying about you're now doing
Ice
sledging.
hockey.
Ice
Mm.
hockey. Oh, ice
Yeah,
hockey.
sledge ice hockey. Yeah, I've been doing that for about 6 months, maybe a year now, and it's going really well. Really good, really good.
Oh,
I can't help it. I'm active. I can't just sit down.
yeah, that's
For
really
sure.
good. I saw a video of you on YouTube where you were doing like dips in your day chair, and then you did
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a really cool ab workout. I was actually shook. I was like, oh my gosh, like how are you doing that? That's crazy.
Determination, man. I love it. I love it. You
Yeah,
know. Mm.
oh, that's good. And are you also doing something with RGK as well?
Yeah, I work for them.
Oh, cool.
I'm a mobility sales advisor for them. So obviously, I go out to customers and measure them for all different types of chairs and stuff like that. So that's what I do full time. And then obviously, I play the sport on the weekends and stuff like that. Mm.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good how it works. I never thought I'd be working for them, obviously. So how the whole journey's turned me into this position I'm in, like, yeah, I'm very grateful for sure.
Yeah. And also as a wheelchair user, I guess it's good because you have like insight, understand what it's like to use the chairs as well.
Yeah, I found out that my own chair, what I have, is measured not really correct for me, and all these kind of things. Where if I never worked for them, I would have never known. I would have thought I had a perfect fit chair, which I didn't.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
stuff like that, you know. Mm.
Yeah, it's cool. Good to hear. How about recent events? Obviously, this whole discussion is about racism and ableism. How have you found, hearing about just all the stuff that's going on with the Black Lives Matter protests and things?
For me, it is. I know a lot of people watching or whatever else. Like, I'm not politically correct, shall we say, or educated enough in that sense. But for me, I just feel like it's a great movement. It's great that everybody's joining on board, and yeah, they're putting a hand up to say that yeah, this is not on, because I think this is going on for way too long. Now, obviously, America's on a different scale of that compared to here, but it still happens here. Do you know what I mean? Like I've experienced a lot of that. Where you would even not really not only talk about it, but
Yeah.
sometimes I tell people and they look at me like, "That's not cool, or that's not right." Like, how come you're cool with that? It's like I'm not cool with it. But at the end of the day, if you don't feel like you got enough support from other people or anything to even feel like if you can protest against it or say something about it, for me anyway, everyone who knows me, I just get on with things, innit? But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So I think obviously what happened to that guy in America, George Floyd, obviously that is dreadful and that's disgusting that happened. you know, and obviously there's been very similar situations like that. And I'm glad that, I don't know if it's the coronavirus and everyone's got free time or something, but I like the fact that a lot of people are saying, yeah, this ain't right. This is not going on. I don't like it. We got to stand together, because at the end of the day, at the same time, it makes other people feel insecure in their own race. You know, you don't want everyone thinking any person who's British or white, for example, doesn't like black people, because that's not the case. You know, it's just a minority. You know, and that is the big problem. But the point is that because it's been a minority, and a lot of people have been victimized by it, like I was one of those, and I was one of the people who didn't say nothing about it. I just kind of left it to it. You know what I mean? So I hope now it's been globalized, that everyone's seeing it and everyone's saying, nah, this is not right. Hopefully, you know, there'll be a change for the better. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. These things have been happening for so long, but now people are
Yeah.
paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, I think people knew and people pay attention, but I think, without, how do I say that sounding bad, but I feel like it's a bit like, oh, well, you know, that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
How I used to get harassed, like when I first started driving, for example, people who know the story know me. I was getting pulled over 6 to 7 times a day by police, like for sure, you know. And then for me, I used to get pulled over by a local one all the time, and I had to ask someone, I said, look, on a serious note, can you let me know why you always bother me? 'Cause my license is clean, my car's clean, I don't have any criminal history or nothing. Like, what is it? And he said, it's my appearance. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, tattoos. Yes, people know me. Look, you see, I have a lot of tattoos. In a race, and you don't know anyway, because a lot of guys are getting tattoos, and it's great. 'Cause I want to show that diverse, because I feel like, for example, I've had police say to me when I get pulled over, I'll get out of the car. I can't. It's not just that simple. I'll get my wheelchair out, and they're looking at me like, you're not disabled. You're too active to look disabled.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then the cheek of it, they want to take it like it's a compliment. It's not a compliment, because at the end of the day, disability shouldn't be shaped or sized or categorized in any way. When people have disabilities mentally, who walk past me every day of the week, well, you will never know. So when I'm saying I'm disabled and you're questioning me, and then they say, well, you got all these tattoos, or you look like this and that and that. But if David Beckham was in his car with all these tattoos, would you say anything? No, you asked for an autograph, I'm sure. So that's why I think the diverse, hopefully, but I thought when I, especially in the sports anyway, I tried to show that. Because even I met guys through the racing and stuff who maybe felt they couldn't do this, or they can't dress a certain way, and all these kind of, you know how it goes. I'm trying to show it. I'll be on the front line for that. Like, no, you can still be tattooed, you can still do this, and doesn't mean that you should be pressed in a bad way for it. Why?
Yeah.
If I want to do that, if it's like someone saying if you wear piercings, that it means you're this type of person, or if you have a hair this, or you know how it goes anyway. You're allowed to express yourself, and I felt like for many years, especially with my driving, when I drive in a car, I always used to worry that I shouldn't be able to drive a car. Now, I'm a disabled person. For many years, I drove with Motability cars, you know, and it's on their system, because please show me this stuff. So you're looking at me like you've got a mobility car, but it's like I don't fit the bill for someone who would have a mobility car. But in hindsight, anyone can have a mobility car anyway, if somebody allows them to have that permission to do that anyway. But I used to get terrorized for it for years. And then it sounds bad, but then I've got illegal tinted windows in my vehicle, which people thought would grab a lot of attention to me, and it slowed so much down. It slowed down so much. So then I really realized, for real, like, it's how I look, isn't it?
Yeah. That's bad. That is profiling, really. Just
Oh
because.
yeah, I've been profile from day one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So.
Even when I started wheelchair racing, it was the same. Everyone looked at me like, I don't know if I want to talk to him. I look serious or whatever, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know the thing is, I was shy. I was just quiet. I just trained, do my race. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
you know. But a lot of people looked at me and thought, I don't know if I could talk to him. He's probably a rude boy or whatever image they got in their mind. You know how it goes. And then when they meet me, that, oh no, Ash is cool. Because I've always been a cool. I never let my disability make me be bitter with anybody or none of that. And I've been profiled with disability on top of it from I can remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got it on both sides. It's the race
Yeah.
thing, but then also even in the disabled community, there's still sometimes that
Yeah.
assumption of what you might be like. Maybe it's racial. Yeah. And you're such a nice guy, though. Honestly, I only remember you
Appreciate you, man.
as
Come
well.
on, appreciate you. You know, like I said, I'm cool. I think everybody who knows me properly. I'm cool, and that's why I never got like I never got on Instagram, for example. Obviously, since all this stuff happened, I have thought about it a bit. I thought I should go on and let people know some stories what I've gone through, because I'm sure if certain other people went through this with a different race or whatever maybe, and they had a good support unit, they would press that, and that would probably be on the papers. You know, I've been dragged out by in my car by police officers for no reason, like for real, like dragged on the floor on main high road, and people looking at me like, oh, look, another black guy looks like a criminal. And I'm actually, no, I'm not a criminal. No, I'm not. I'm super legit. Always have been. Like, what are you talking about? But because of my image, you're like, no, it don't work like that. And then I used to worry and think, you know what? Because I always blame me. I think maybe it's the vehicles I choose to drive. So I changed the vehicles, and it didn't make no difference. It's just that when I cover my image, i.e. by tinted windows, even though they're illegal, they weren't bothering me. They just saw my name on the plate or whatever, and they do their checks and thought, oh, cool, whatever. And it's like, oh, and it's bad that I'm 31 and I feel like I'm going to have tinted windows on all my cars till I die. That's how I feel, and I'm cool with that. But I shouldn't feel like that when I'm fully legit. Do you know what I'm saying? Because of, they don't like, I don't suit the image of the police intelligence, because yeah, there's a lot of youngsters who do X, Y, Z and whatever else, but I'm a big 31-year-old person. I'm not 18 driving in a brand new 50 grand car.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But I do hope, obviously, what's happened and everything else, that, you know, we get a different, people have more of awareness.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is ignorance and a lot of it is uneducated people, unfortunately. And I can't even blame them, because even the way we go through school and stuff like that, we don't really know a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to us, shall we say?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I learnt it because obviously you do sports, you travel over the world in different areas and that. Like, so you live out in London. Like, I play ice hockey out in Peterborough, for example. And when I started, because without being funny, because I'm the only black guy who plays sledge ice hockey, everyone knew who I was. And it was, but I think I got good response. They were like, this guy's fast, he's cool, he's a bit different. So it's not always a negative thing of having this profile, shall we say. I've always used the advantage for it. I use the best I can out of it to show more positivity on it and be more diverse about it. Because even people joke with me, some of my black friends, like, well, you play ice hockey, hey, you don't like cold. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not, and they're right, I don't like cold, but I tell you now, when you wrap up all the gear, you're sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't worried about being cold.
I'll be honest, I kind of thought that as well. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say no names, but a lot of people are like, you play ice hockey? I'm like, yeah, it's good, it's great, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like, even what you're doing is great, because at the end of the day, it's not just about if you're black or if you're white. It's his profiles in general. It's not on, because I don't want to be people thinking that I'm this guy saying it's all about Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's about how you profile people, period. Because it affects. Because I met disabled people who might not get profiled in a bad way, excuse me, but they profile themselves in a bad way. Oh, I'm disabled, so I have to have a disabled girlfriend, for example, or this, that, da, da, da. When people, when I used to race, used to say stuff to that to me, and I come from a whole different world to that. So I'm like, why? Huh? Why? It's because you're shortening your reach. It's because you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough to be classed as able. But you know what I'm saying? We're all together. We're the same people.
Yeah.
We still do the same thing. Look at you. You're a talented star. You do everything you're supposed to do, like any other person. Like, even again with the Paralympic side of things, on a disability side of it, people saying like superhumans, and like, I hate that name. I hate it. Because why am I or you or anyone who goes Paralympics a superhuman, but then you don't call Mo Farah superhuman, you don't call Usain Bolt a superhuman?
Yeah, true.
And that guy runs the fastest guy in the world. To me, he is a superhuman. If I say anybody is, you know what I mean? But then the other flip side of it, it goes from superhuman, whatever, or the other side is benefit scroungers, lazy, don't care about life, da 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 da. Why is it never in the middle? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know,
living life, doing things normally, and I understand. I think, yeah, people can put themselves into certain boxes.
I did it myself.
Yeah. Wow.
For sure, because if you feel like that, and the people around you kind of make you feel like that, naturally you'll feel like that. You know, like I said, I've got a tattoo on my face. A lot of people said, you ruin your life. They're gonna think you're a criminal, all these things. And now I've got the dream job, what I love doing, and I'm doing so much more great and positive things since that. I've tattooed my face, for example, and done whatever else. And even I meet all my customers from all different walks of life, nothing but great energy. They always, you know what I mean? And that's what I want to show, because you don't have, it's not about if you wear a suit, that means you're more proper than me. Or if I don't wear a suit, or if I have a tattoo or not, if I'm white or if I'm black or whatever it is. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If your heart's clean, it's clean. If it's not, it's not, innit? Yeah. And I think that's where unfortunately, we have to, as people, you've got to judge by somebody's image, because before you do it, before you speak to them, you don't know what they're about, innit?
Mm.
But sometimes with me, when I meet anybody, okay, I might look at your profile and think, you might be like this, but I'm not going to think that's you. That's just a possibility. And when you start speaking, I'll get more of an idea about what you're about. Same like you met me when we met in Bedford. I remember clear as day how young you was. And this guy was wicked. We got on very well. Your dad, everyone. I remember speaking to all your family, like great people, and we're cool. But some people felt very intimidated to approach me.
Mm.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. People make assumptions, don't they? And also,
Yeah,
with the thing you're talking about with the police, like that is so bad because they're assuming something about you purely based on the way you look. But then also,
yeah.
with your disability as well, did they sometimes not believe or not believe that you
Oh,
had a disability?
I could, there it is, yeah. People who know me, I'm too humble in it, and I should say a lot more. But I just don't know it is. I don't never want to come across as somebody who just, oh, feel guilt for me because I'm used to this. So it doesn't really, I don't lose no sleep on this. But obviously, when I see what you're doing, I thought, cool, all right, I like what you're doing. I will say it in it, but it's silly things. Even like regular people. I park in a disabled bay in Tesco's, and people looking at me like I'm some like he ain't disabled. I've had grannies congregate my vehicle.
Oh God.
You're not disabled. You're so wrong. You're this. You're that. Da, da. I'm like, hold on a minute. If you're eligible for a disabled badge without being moved because you're old, yeah, right? I've been disabled from birth. I'm not judging you why you have a badge. It's not my business. I leave you to do what you're doing. I don't even look to see if you have a badge personally. It's not my business. But for you to make me feel like that, and it always happens because then I'll get my chairs in the boot, so I'll get out and hobble along, and they look at me, think, is he taking a mick? And then they see the wheelchair, and then they're like, oh, and they all try to be friendly, and it depends what mood you catch me in, depends how I respond to you, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing. People just make assumptions way too much. Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah. That's why I'm so
but
happy
I
speaking to you because I think you're
appreciate it, man.
showing another aspect that people probably don't realize.
Yeah. And that's why, I done. It was funny because I'm trying to do a TV show, and obviously the lockdown obviously messed up. But I'm trying to do a TV show about people's disability stories.
Mm.
So, be like how you see the Ross Kemp and all that other stuff. It'd be like 6 episodes. One will be an episode about my life, so everyone will get to know everything from when I was a baby. People don't understand why I'm in a wheelchair and so forth and whatever else. But it breaks down all of that, and then it fast forwards to where I'm in life now. And then I'll go and interview 5 other people and let them tell their stories. And the reason why I did that is because I felt, like I said, it's superhuman, lazy, benefits ground, just undateable. That's another thing I don't even like. Don't want to get into that. But then I want to talk about you know what I mean? So I want to try and be more of a realistic approach to what it is. Because a lot of people, kids see me in a wheelchair, they look at me in amazement, like, what's that? And then their parents are grabbing them, don't look at him, like I'm some alien or something. So I'll turn my wheelchair around and be like, hey. And she'll be like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry for them to be interested in seeing someone in a wheelchair when they probably haven't seen it before? Let me educate them. Because
Yeah.
how are we ever going to change the diverse when it comes to race, equalness, people's profiles, all these things? How are we ever going to move forward on that if we try to just leave it under the carpet or act like it's not there?
Yeah, exactly. That's why, some people say, oh, I don't see race. Like, that isn't going to help anything. Or, I don't see disability. Oh, we're all the same. We have to see it. We have to see it in some ways. Like, it's there. We have to learn
You know,
about
of
it.
course you do, because I'm not being funny. You go to Tesco's and you see the wheelchair sign to park your car. So generally people see me in a wheelchair, and then when they see me get up and move, they're looking at me in amazement like, oh, you're not paralyzed. I'm like, not every person you see in a wheelchair can't use their legs.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
a lot of people don't know that, because that handicap sign, waiting like that, how they do it with the wheel, they think, oh, he's one of those, say. But there's more to us. There's a lot more as
Yeah.
people to us than the chair.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of people who hire people like us. They'll say we're very career driven. We're very hungry for any opportunity because we already had a lot of opportunities from our disability not allowed to do. I can't be a firefighter. I can't be a soldier. I can't be so forth, so forth. But give me opportunities that I can do. I'm sure I won't let you down. And that's why you see me with the sports. And people see like, she's always doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, doing this. Because I always want to push myself and do and do. Opportunity to play ice hockey. I never thought I'd ever do it. I thought I'd be good at it. Time turned around. Now they put me on near enough on the GB program. I never thought I'd do that. And I know without being racist or funny, I don't feel proud of thinking I'm the black dude who's playing ice hockey for our country. A lot of people wouldn't even think I would even know what ice hockey is.
Yeah.
You know? So I try to, for everybody, is just try to not saying do the right thing, but just to let people know that we are human beings. You know, some people are shocked that I have a kid, or some people are shocked that I look after my son and stuff. And I'm like, why not? Or you live on your own. That's the big thing. Wow, you have your own place. I'm 31, mate. I mean, what do you think I'm doing? Live with my mum till she died.
Exactly, yeah. Like we've got these, identities or whatever, being black and disabled or whatever, but that doesn't limit anything. Like we're living normal lives, isn't it? And that's what people need to realize. Yeah, and what you said
Some
about
people, yeah, because some people say it to me, you know, Ash, people say, Ash, something funny, mate. You live, because some people might say, oh, poor you. Like, I've been stopped one time in the area and someone's like, oh, poor you. God look after you, poor you. I'm like, mate, you look like your life's harder than mine. I think you need God, not me. You know, but serious, because they think, oh, poor you. But then I'm living more abled than people who have nothing wrong with them, shall we say, than they are. So who is more poor what? I'm sure I know a lot of people who stand up tall and everything else, and they look at me and say, Ash, man, freaking hell, you got a lot going for you. I haven't really got F all. And I'm trying to show him, mate, it's because it's how you look at this. My
yeah,
mum raised me like that to make sure this is intact, luckily enough, use that to your full advantage. And yes, you have hurdles, but you know how to go around them
yeah. That's
if you've got the right attitude.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I get from you is that you are a really confident person. So I'm really intrigued. Like, how did you build that confidence?
Nah,
You know?
nah. Okay, I'll tell you like this, right? Before I was in a wheelchair full time, because I used to wear calipers, leg braces. People out there watching Forrest Gump, them leg things he wears, I wore those since I was, I think, 2, you know. And I've always been confident in the sense that, you know, I'm upbeat, I'll talk and everything else. But I still lack a lot of confidence, of ability, of be able to do stuff. So if you said to me, for example, hey, I want you to come to a talk show to talk, and you might be, what you're doing is really great. It might blow up to the sky, and they want you to get all the guests or whatever. Maybe now I'll do it, but a year ago I'd be like, because I worry that I'll let you down. It was a confidence about stuff like that. But because I'm very outspoken, I'll say what I want and whatnot. People get sometimes that wrong idea of thinking like he's over the top, confident, blah 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 blah. But actually, in real life, no, not really. Like obviously, in the last couple of years when I've been doing TV stuff and bettering myself and everything else and being a dad and so forth, yeah, I feel a bit more confident that I know where I stand with myself. But there's still more room to improve. But to answer your question, I think it was when I went in a wheelchair full time, and that happened pure from wheelchair racing. So I don't know if you know, if you don't know my story, why I started wheelchair racing, but all it was, David Weir, the living legend. Yeah, I watched him win London, and I just thought, look, let me see if I can get to sport, because I lived on hills when I was younger, and everyone said you got big arms, you could be all right at sport. Bearing in mind, I didn't know nothing about stuff like this. I didn't know about getting neat wheelchairs. I didn't know anything. So then when I joined a local club, and then it stemmed from there, and then somebody trained me for a bit and then took me to David Weir, and I met more people like us in this situation. Because even though you're not the only one, you felt like the only one.
Yeah.
Because all my friends around me were abled. I had no one with disability, no one with disabilities, etc., etc. And then when I kind of got into the wheelchair full time and I chose that and I accepted it, I was like, you know what? I'm fully can embrace who I am now. It was overdue because I felt like I was living half disabled, half able. If I walked past you, you would never know. But I know. My leg brace is getting tired and stuff, so forth. So I went in a wheelchair. It was like without sounding like a restart button to my life and who I am and how I'm going to carry myself. And I thought, you know what? I used to be very negative about my life and things. Now, sports has definitely gave me a discipline to be more positive. You saw when I started racing anyway, when you saw like I was going up the rankings, I was starting to get more confident. And people who don't know this, I was bad. I had no diet. I was going to bed at stupid o'clock times at night. I was just guess naturally good at what I was doing. And then Jenny, I love her to death, the coach, she always said to me like, mate, numbers don't lie. And look what you achieved in a short space of time. Be proud of yourself. Learn how to build yourself. Because she said it like we had like a charity event. She said on the mic that when I first met this guy, no confidence, da 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 da. 3 months later, he third in the country, and God knows what he could be. And it was just to believe in that. And even my own mother, who never really saw me do my sports and so forth, she was at that event and she got upset about it because she didn't even know how I felt, because I learned how to suppress. Basically, it was a front. You put on a front because I don't want everyone to do that. Pity him, poor him, pity him, all that kind of stuff. So I just laced my boots up. All my friends had great mates who made it easier for me to get on with it, shall we say. And then I was just like, you know what, stay on it. And then, yeah, so the wheelchair life definitely gave me the confidence to say, you know what, here I am. You don't like me, you don't like me. If you're gonna stare at me, you're gonna stare at me. I've been getting stared at since I could remember anyway. But then a lot of positive things came to me. TV stuff, job, etc., etc. And I thought this life's quite cool. Yeah. And that's how the confidence started to build. But no, I never always been confident. And I still ain't fully confident, promise you.
Yeah, it's really good. That's true. Like, I think a lot of people think a wheelchair is, you know, a limitation as such, but in fact, it gives us so much more freedom and confidence, independence.
No, it was like I say, it gave me, it was clean cut. If I wear a leg brace and walk past you, you might think, you see the wheelchair, it's blatant. So it's like I'm, so I don't, not I was pretending, but it's like here I am, man. It's like if you're a girl who always wears cakes and cakes of makeup, and then you get exposed on TV with no makeup, you're like, you know what? Here's me. It was the same thing, and then I learned to like me and rebuild me, and then be proud of who I am, and learn to start trying to give myself credit, because I always gave myself no credit instead of credit, if that makes sense. So then the sports, the racing, all these things, maybe I have to give myself a pat on the back, because I got invited to go GB camp, and I thought I'd never go GB camp. What's GB camp? Then you know how it goes, sports safe funding, all these things that I started to get. And this is somebody a year ago who didn't even know that this stuff even existed, with no support, no financial support, with nothing and everything else. And I bought my chair self on my own and everything else. And that's why I think Jenny Archer was so keen to me, because she's like, this guy come from nowhere, ain't part of no club who's getting funded for chairs or anything else. He's bought his chair. He looks like he's serious about trying to be something.
Yeah.
And that's how it all began.
Yeah, it's really good. So with racing, are you still racing a bit, or?
Oh no, I've stopped racing for quite a while. If I'll be totally honest with you, I felt like when I watched, like I said, when I watched London, obviously the crowds were amazing, etc., whatever else. But I kind of just felt like when I was racing, because where I was going to train, it was quite far.
Yeah.
The financial side was very hard, because I'm going to Richmond Park, and I'm sure David and Mo, if you're on here, will vouch for me. 90% of the time, I was always in the park near enough every day, and then doing all of that and still self-funding myself. And I live on my own and all these things. I ain't got no mother support or none of that kind of stuff. I try my best to keep sustaining it, but then because I didn't get on the world-class program and I was close to it and whatever else, and then my shoulder was getting bad. I had a displaced scapula. All that time racing, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And all these things, I was like, you know what, enough is enough. And at the same time, I didn't want to leave it, because it was my focus. It kept me in a positive mind frame and everything else. And then at the same time, I found out having a kid. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be a dad now. So at the same time, it was like, I want to get my priorities right, make sure I've got time for my child and so forth, because in my upbringing, my dad was never in my life, still not really in it properly. So I didn't want to do that to my child and everything. So without being funny, it's like it worked in its hand, because like London, watching David in London and watching the advert, that inspired me. And then I left wheelchair racing, being in the Rio advert. So I felt like I show that it's proof in the pudding that if you can have an opportunity and put your head down to work for it, you can achieve. And I achieved a lot in racing. Same like I did with basketball. And I met great people like yourselves and people I never forget. Like I said, Jenny Archer, to me, I ain't seen her for however long, and we chat on text and on occasion, whatever. But to me, she's still like a second mum to me. Do you know what I mean? Because all the effort and the energy she put into me. So I can't say, I didn't get anything out of racing. I got a hell of a lot. More than an opportunity to go to Paralympics or any of that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it gave, now I'm in a wheelchair full time. Happy to. Do you know what I mean? Now I sell wheelchairs. We're possibly bringing out a racing chair as well. Just saying.
Oh, actually, I think I've heard about that.
Yeah. Go plug it in.
Yeah, you got that in there. Well, because I'm sponsored by Otterbock, I have to say, there's other companies available.
Yes, of course. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds so good. I'm really happy for you, and it's really good what you're doing with RGK and stuff. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
I remember you when you were super young, and I knew it, talented. And I watched all your races. I've seen all. I saw when you beat Hannah for the first time. I felt so good. And I felt so good? Hannah is a star and she's on her own thing. But seeing someone like you, I remember when you first raced, I think one of your first races was in Bedford. And that's when I done my first race. And I got I think I was like third in the country or whatever it was. And I felt so good. And the determination, I saw how you push. I said, one day you will beat her. And that's not a bad thing. That's great. Do you know why? That inspires a lot more people to do the sport and to do great like that and show that this is someone who's a superstar champion and this person built herself up and done what she done and won. And I know it made Hannah say, I step my game up, because she was thrashing people with our eyes closed, if I'm honest. So to see you beat her, I can't. Yeah, I've been watching it, and I was jumping around my house like a madman, and he broke my back.
Thanks. But yeah,
No,
it's just like
seriously.
keep working hard, isn't it? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
training hard, definitely.
you still doing it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Good,
still
good,
training,
good.
still training. Keep,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, no, it's
So
always,
can I ask you a question?
yeah,
With
sure.
the question you asked me about profile and stuff, have you ever been profiled? Or like how is it treating you being a disabled person and black and whatnot? Have you ever been profiled in any way or anything like how I have, good or bad?
Not like that. I mean,
Hmm.
your story really surprised me, to be honest. Uh,
Really?
yeah, because I don't know, because this is why I wanted to speak to you, because I feel like the disabled black man experience is going to be different to the female's experience. Because
I hear you.
you know, I've got to be honest, I haven't really experienced anything like that. Like, I know what it's like to be one of the only black people, or to kind of have,
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
a bit like
yeah,
the odd one out, you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in sport, or, you know, in school. But I've never felt like, yeah, I've never felt anything kind of, I don't know, like police, like I've never had a problem with, you know, police, or,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, in that kind of way.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's quite crazy that, yeah, you're so shocked by it. And for me, I look at it like it's so normal.
Yeah, and it shouldn't.
Crazy, right?
That's
It
the thing.
shouldn't be though. Because they did. I'll be honest with you. You got to understand this, and then again, it's not just a color thing. It's just in general that if you expect people to do good in life, they got to have some sort of confidence to want to go achieve that because they know it's a hard journey to achieve anything properly. If you naturally feel people who are meant to protect you or make sure you're secure to a certain degree, make you feel like you're shit, it's very hard to feel like, well, if they're already against me and I've already got my own demons I'm fighting myself, is it really going to inspire me to go Richmond Park and train all day, every day, for example, and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Do you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think that is the point. But a lot of people might watch this and be like, wow, okay. Because some people watching who actually personally know me is watching this right now. Some people know and some people don't. Because again, I don't go out there. I'm not trying to go on camera and say, hey guys, Black Lives Matter and guess what happened to me and all this and that and that and this and that.
yeah,
Because it sounds bad, but it's already been done. All I can do now is things like what we're doing right now. And just give my honest opinion. So what I'm saying ain't saying it's factual that I think this is that, but it's my opinion on it or my view on it. And then I'm just telling you my experiences, how I've been dealt with. Same like with the police. I don't want to think every police person don't never liked me. Some of them were super cool. They might say, "Oh, just put you over this for normal chat," and I'm like, "All right, cool," and that's it. But a lot of them, when I was very calm and collective, they just get wound up by it. I think, why are you getting wound up? Oh, I know. Because you think that because some black people you want to say or whatever is very loud and like, why are you putting me over and all that, especially rude boys, what you want to say, and you think I fit that criteria of it, all of that. So when I'm very well spoken, like, oh, hello, what are you bothering me for? They're like, huh? Because
yeah.
you expect me to be getting aggressive because you like to think that all of us are aggressive type people all the time
Mm, that's
and
it.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Definitely.
you should just be, this is the thing, like, we shouldn't be able to, we shouldn't feel like we're going out and kind of worried about what's going to happen. Like, I spoke to my dad about this as well, and I was like, Dad, you know, sometimes when you go out shopping, I'm scared just in case something happens, that someone misunderstands something, and then,
Yeah.
you know, a policeman comes, and like, I shouldn't be scared when my dad goes out.
No way. That's a star, man. What are you talking about?
You
You
know,
know? Yeah.
stand, you know.
But it's true, you know, and I think it sounds bad, yeah. When I first started driving, I'll be honest with you, if I was going somewhere, I will give myself extra time for enough time to get pulled over. So if I've got to be there for 10 o'clock, I'll leave extra earlier because I know more time I'm going to get it. That I got so used to it, I'm like, here they come. Okay, cool. You know, but then on the good side of it, if I'm totally honest, I remember one time I did a silly maneuver in the car. They caught me. I was like, "Ee," and they pulled me over, and they had a big attitude. What's your all this stuff. And then when he said get out of the car, I was like, I can't, mate. It's on a dodgy road, like with a dual carriageway. Can you get my wheelchair out? He looked at my car like, and his whole demeanor changed. I swear to God, he came around my car with his touchy fella, and he's like, listen, mate, look, just don't do that again. I was like, you know, yeah, you're right. I'm so wrong. My apologies, my bad. I'm rushing like an idiot. That ain't gonna happen again. Promise you. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So he's someone. If I wasn't disabled, they wouldn't have been dealing with me like that.
Yeah,
Cause they looked at me like a jackpot, like, oh, I'm not in a good mood, and you made me even worse. Thank you. And then when he saw the wheelchair, And then you obviously do your checks. They're like, whole demeanor change. Like
Wow.
I said, when you park
Why
in the disabled
was
bay.
that feeling like bad, or what did they,
It was, I promise you, it got bad to the point that even certain time, I'd rather have somebody insured in my vehicle and they drive and I just sit in the passenger, for example. Or if I sat in someone's car, even up to today, I'll say I'd rather go in other people's cars certain time.
Mhm.
You know, I don't want to go in my car with more than two people in it, stuff like that, because I used to get stereotyped like, oh, you got two guys in the car, what are you up to? Mate, I've got 5 seats, so I can't have two people in my car.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People need to
Oh,
hear this, honestly, because
yeah, and they're saying stuff like, oh, yeah, you know, like, oh, well, people being burgled and robbed. Well, I'm in a wheelchair, so I don't think I'm climbing someone's house in my chair. How about that? You know?
Oh, wow. Honestly, yeah, this is serious. And yeah, I got someone asked, will we save it? I will save this live. All of the lives are being saved. Yeah. It is, people need to, yeah, people really need to know about these things.
But this is what I wanted to do it. When you contact me, because I don't know, funny people contact me to do all different type of stuff, but I need to know what your energy is and why you're doing that. Because I don't want to say things and then you want to try and do whatever to misconstrue it or use me or whatever. Like, and I remember you from day one, and you've always been nothing but a good person. So I know what you're doing is a positive thing to showcase reality of what's going on. And
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone who's honest who knows me, I'm a real person like that. Do I always get treated bad by police? Not all the time. But did I get a lot, especially when I first started driving and all that? Hell yeah, of
Mm.
course. Even when I go shopping, people double stare at me because, and it's not always a bad thing. You know, someone said it's because you don't look like somebody who normally would be in a wheelchair. Why? Oh,
Yeah.
because you dress nice.
What does a wheelchair user look like, huh?
Then yeah, not I asked somebody there. I'm not like
Yeah.
like I know it all. 'Cause I don't, but I want to know in it. And I'm like, why would you say that? And the person said to me, because you know what? Because you look presentable. Like you dress nice, you look cool. I see you. I don't see you hidden in a low chair in this massive chair, and you're dressing like you're 80 when you're 21, for example. That's what I look at when I think of people in a wheelchair. And I'm like, damn. And then do you know what? And then when I thought about it, it was true because before I did sports, a lot of people I met in a wheelchair, no matter how old you were, looked like that. My old wheelchair, what's rotting in my garden right now, is one of those chairs where the back was too bloody high, and I'm like a little old little dude in a chair. And then straight away, people think, because I saw a few people like that, they think every person in a wheelchair is like that.
Yeah.
So when I go shopping, people look at me in amazed, or they see my son in my lap, or just seeing him with me, people are amazed, like, wow, this is really great. You're so inspiring. I'm like, why am I inspiring? Because what? I'm doing what you're doing. And you got kids?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly the same.
You go
Exactly.
to work? Yeah. So why is it so inspiring that I'm doing it? You know?
Yeah. Wow, that's really true. And there's a
Oh,
lot.
look, look,
Oh no.
you see
Oh,
the comment
comment.
that there's they say I've been told I'm beautiful
For someone
for
in a
someone in a
wheelchair. Oh,
wheelchair.
Christina.
I
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I feel you on that. I've heard that once or twice in my life, and all I would say to that is that I don't want to cuss, you know, because we're on proper things. But I'll just say, end of the day, don't watch nothing. Don't watch nothing on that because at the end of the day, it's just narrow-minded people. Because everyone says, how do I deal with all this narrow-minded people? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's like a classic thing. Someone might say, "Oh, you're looking for a white guy." I heard that. I heard this, oh, you're very looking for a black guy.
Yeah. It's just assumptions again, profiling,
Mhm.
stereotypes, all of it. Yeah.
But you know what? The TV don't help it. This is why I want to do what I said about the TV show, like what you're doing. I hope you could
Representation,
get
like,
a TV show or something doing this more. I'd
yeah.
support all that stuff like that because at the end of the day, that was it. Because I don't know if you ever seen the Undateable show. I'm sure a lot of people in it have seen it. My biggest question, and I'll ask you like ask anybody, why is somebody in a wheelchair undateable because they're in a wheelchair? When if your preference is as a woman is a white guy, if I'm disabled or not, I will not be I will not be dateable to you
Yeah.
because that's not your criteria, right?
Yeah. I have to
And
click because that's just so true. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
But
yeah,
why is it
because
even called undateables? Like,
yeah, do you know, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, make you not all laugh quick, yeah? I got asked so many times from runners to go on an undateable show. Go on an undateable show. Would you go on it? You're cool, would you go on it? And I said, you know what? Okay, whoever owns the show, get her to ring me. I gave her my number. I never thought she would ring me. She did. So I can't remember her name, but credit to you for ringing me. But I gave her an education lesson, and I was like, wow, you have the power to have a show that goes on TV every day of the week, or whatever it is, on big time TV to get people to link up, to be dates, whatever, whatever, and you got no education. So, for example, she said to me, Why don't you go on the show, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not funny. Like I said to you about the dating thing. I said to her, what's your type? She said, blonde hair, white guy, blue eyes. I said, cool. Well, I'm a black person. So if I was disabled or not, would I be your type? She goes, no. So exactly, I'm undateable either way, right?
Mm.
So no way around. If it was that. She said, that's a very good point. That's another thing as well. End of the day, if you're trying to promote people to with disability to meet together and date and stuff, right, which is cool. I'm not against it. Why are you calling it undateable? Because I have a child. She was like, you have a kid? She was shocked. So I'm like, you don't have the basic education, you know, that people in wheelchairs still have private parts at work. Just saying.
Yeah.
But then you get to go on big TV and have this show and have people pity it and go, oh, that was funny. It was a laugh. Because you get people with learning disabilities who might do things that you would normally see. So yeah, naturally, as an even human, you might giggle a bit and think, wow, that's mad. But the point is, why is it undateable? That don't even make sense.
It's derogatory, it
Of
is.
course. And then that's why now, if you watch the show, you get the Cupid at the end and it shoots to you in the end of. I said to her, change the name or do something. He goes, oh, I can't. It's a brand now. Blah, blah, blah. I said, wow, okay. So another way of mocking people and getting money out of it, but cool. But are you going to change that or do something? He goes, I'll try. And I'm not saying because of me, but if you watch it now, the Cupid comes and shoots to you in the end. It's a dateables. Like at the end of the day, that's the point. Because
Yeah.
remember, even if you get two people to date together who are disabled and they like each other, they don't choose, they don't make it clear that they're not undateable. Am I
Yeah.
missing the point?
Yeah. I know. It's
But then
really.
remember, the government want us all to be equal. They like to say they make things in place for us to be able to work and do all these things, when that's not always true either. So then
Yeah.
the public who are out here, who are not disabled, who don't have disabled friends and everything else, only going to judge us for what they see. From the Paralympics, they cheer us all on, superhumans. They're not undateables, you pity them and laugh at the same time. And then like, oh, that was quite sweet. Like belittling them when that guy's older than you, say, because
Yeah.
of that. So I've always had that attitude after I've done my BBC story, how it's inspired people. I was like, I want to use my voice to show that, hold on a minute, just because you're disabled doesn't mean you don't have to, you don't have to look nice or care about your appearance. That means you can't have independence. You can't have children. Unfortunately, some people with disabilities they can't. But same like human beings, the same able-bodied people who can't have kids, and she ain't got no disability, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just try to give more awareness of realness. Stop sugarcoating it. Stop making out like I said, superhumans, man. Because I'm proud of what you do. I think you're great. I'm proud of every person who does all the sports and that. But I'm not agreeing with superhuman though.
Yeah.
What's the name of superhuman? Do you fly out your wheelchair and go to another country and come back? That's a superhuman to me.
Yeah. I
Mm.
agree. I agree. Exactly. Need to normalize it a bit more. It seems like it's like, wow, you're doing sport. Wow. But
Yeah.
yeah, I get you. Yeah. I
You
get
know what
you.
I don't get. If we can have robots near enough controlling certain things and doing all these things, you tell me that we can't have people with disability who might have part of their body like mine, lower part ain't the greatest, but the top half is fine, be able to still compete and do stuff in this day and age.
Yeah.
Back
Exactly.
in the day, I'll tolerate a lot more back in the day, way before our time, way before our time. But in this time of everything, what we can do, you can have you got people with electric arms that can do this and do all these whatever. You say that you know. A lot of people look at me, they used to clap. Like I used to my racer channel, I used to train on the streets. I had people following me, chasing after me, filming me, and like, go on, mate. And it's nice. I'm not saying that it's bad. But I'm like, you don't do that when you see a guy running down the high road.
Yeah.
But it's because you're surprised because it's awareness you've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I always want to kind of showcase that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
really true. It's like I've got like thunder and lightning here. I'm just please everybody please pray that like my Wi-Fi doesn't go dodgy because I want to save this. But
Yeah,
yeah. So I was going to ask you a slightly different slant on things, but
yeah.
what do you think about disability in the Black community? Like, do you think disability is a bit taboo? Like, have you only had any experiences like, um, you know,
Well, how people deal with me as black people, as me being a disabled person.
yeah, like more in the Black community? Yeah.
Um, I'll give you a joke. A long time ago, again, I got out of my wheelchair and I can stand up for a second. I stood up and this woman dropped down the floor praying, Lord Jesus, God is right. Look, he's walking. I'm like, listen, my leg's dead. I'm about to drop down on my chair, mate. We talk about, you know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I've never really See, honestly, I think I've had it quite, apart from the police stuff, shall we say, I've been all right, man. I've never been by white or black. I never had anybody against it. People used to say to me, "You're strong. You got strong arms," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I never would say in the black community or any community really, it was nothing. Some people say, "Oh, he looks cool," or a lot of people double stare at me a bit, and that was it. But I never really had any bad or good. It was just neutral. Just some people would just be like, "Hey, you look cool," or especially no, it's old Jamaican man. Oh, look at him. That's about it. But yeah, nah, nothing really
Yeah.
out of the ordinary. But I think it's because of how you represent yourself. You
Yeah.
know, I always say I'm a stand-up person that sits down. Meaning, when I come in the room, you still feel like I'm standing because you're going to focus on me, how my chair's made, to how I carry myself. People who sit around me, my wheelchair can be visibly right in front of them, but they're not sitting there thinking, "Oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, the chair guy." None of that. You know, people keep saying it around me. Like, I'll be honest, I keep forgetting you're disabled, even though you asked me 5 seconds ago, because you're lazy now, to get the chair at the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really had any no, apart from that woman saying that, and I was dying. I was
That's
quite
good though, at least, because
yeah,
yeah, like what I mean is like it's good that it's not like you
it's
felt
negative.
out of place in the disabled in the black community, or you know, that kind of thing.
No.
Because I mean with the black community, I was only saying that because I feel like in ethnic minorities in general, maybe sometimes there can be a little bit of a taboo around
Yeah.
disability, you know, because I'm sure there's a lot of disabled people from ethnic minorities out there, but we
Hmm.
don't always
See it.
see it. So I wonder why. That's why I kind of
I personally think, in my opinion, you hit a nail on the head on that, by the way, because obviously in my job, I go and measure different type of people in wheelchairs and so forth. And I think I've probably only seen, whoa, maybe one black person I've done a job for example, or whatever. And I think, do you know what it is? I think depends on what you come up. Like I came from a place where, well, people think my mum's mixed race, for example. My mum's mixed race, my dad's black. Obviously, I live with my mum. And it was like for me, it's like I already came from a hardship or struggle. So it's like I don't know if it's a race, I don't know if it's black or what, but just if you come from a struggling background, no matter how pretty the surrounding you're in or whatever it is, you naturally have this way of like, I already got problems, I don't want to highlight anymore. So my discipline has kept it quiet. So how I felt deep down, I suppressed it. My own mum didn't know how I felt properly until 2 years ago. I did my BBC story, and she was like, you know. So I'm not saying that on the black community, but I think in general, if you come from a struggling background and certain time, you just don't want to do. And no, we can't change this scenario. So I just never had that energy to be like that. And then all I say from my peers, my family, my friends, they're like, "Listen, man, you're good, man, you're fine. Like, obviously legs are shite, but everything else is cool." And then I come from a place where we're all about joking. So I used to get the most jokes. Your skinny legs, it's like that. And I'm like, "Look at you, you're this and that." And we said banter about it. But I think the big thing I think when it comes from, don't matter about a race, but just unprivileged backgrounds, is that you ain't got enough things to know about these things. You know, the original racing club that I started at before I went to David Weir, that was next door to me, near enough. And I never knew you could do wheelchair racing here. But I used to go to the youth club next door and do music there. Because wheelchair racing, for example, is very expensive, like chairs, you know how it goes.
yeah,
Like, when I tell someone Mauritia costs 6 grand, they're like, "What?"
it's expensive. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm not even funny. It's not again. I don't want to say. I don't want to think it's a color thing. It's not. Well, black people are broke. It's not that. But where I come from, people who are black, unfortunately, they don't have much money. So I can tell my mum, "Hey, find out how to do wheelchair racing or whatever it is. And if it is, yeah, I need 5 grand to race for a chair." Look at that. You lost your mind. Five
yeah,
grand for what?
mm,
So it's just different. Because
yeah,
when I came into wheelchair racing, if you think about it, the only black people I saw on the track were me, you, and Jabari. If he's on here, what's up, bro? Him were the only black people I saw on the circuit. That's why I stood there like a sore thumb. I remember it clear as day. Bright green chair, covered in tats, had a bit of muscle, and I'm thinking, who the hell is this?
yeah, yeah,
So I think it's definitely, it comes down to the upbringing and who you're around and whatever else. And I'll be honest with you, my mum worked too hard. She didn't have time, without being rude, to figure out if there's any little things Ash can do as a disabled person. It's more like this: Ash can do this. You can go play centre, or you can go and sit with your friends in the park, and you can do whatever, whatever. But she tried to normalize me. Just is that the right way of saying? To the point that yeah, I didn't really feel like I was disabled, even though I put my leg braces on. Because when I put my clothes over it, you would never know. I went to ordinary schools, etc., etc. Yeah, there was not much, you know. I think we came from a place where stop complaining, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
And I've met a few people recently who have disabilities who are black, and they're like, mate, I'll be honest with you, I just get on with it. I don't even want people to really know I'm in a chair. Or I've had some people say, yeah, if you do a chair for me, I want it really low key. I don't want people to really see me, the chair, da 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 da. So I think people have different views on how they want to look at themselves and how they carry themselves for having that image of a disabled person.
Yeah,
If that
exactly.
makes sense.
Like we said before, it's just about like living a normal life, getting on with things, and also just I guess you've got friends, you've got family that are supportive and just treat you as anybody else, and that's it really, isn't it?
And I'm not even funny. I'm sure everyone is watching this, and if you have disability, like, you know, and everything else, what do we want to be like, guys? Just like everybody else, man. Because we are everybody else, man. I help this society. I pay taxes,
Yeah.
so I'm able enough and normal enough to do that, right? But then you'll double stare at me in my car because I have a nice car or whatever. Because even that, a lot of people think when you're disabled, because you get cars of mobility, people look at me, see my car, like, huh? Hi, what? I'm like, mate, it is a basic adaptation. That's why on my Instagram I've done a video of showing my work. People, why do you do something like that? And I thought it's true. Let me show people how I drive. Because every time people see me, they're like, I get that look, like, then they think, shy, he's watching me, and they do that smile. Like, and I'm not mad. I'm like, oh, I know, like, you're kind of shocked that I drive a car like that, and then you see me get out of a wheelchair, for example, because some people still live in that prehistoric mindset of thinking disabled people can't drive, they can't wash, they can't clean, they can't do this, they can't do that. It depends on your ability. So, like, if you was able your whole life and you had a horrible stroke, for example, or whatever else, you might need carers, and you might need this, and you might need that. Luckily, with my disability, it didn't affect me like that, so I didn't need carers, I didn't need any of that kind of stuff. I just needed, to be honest, I just always needed people just to believe in whatever my goals were and put them to me to put it to the test. And I'll be honest, that's what Jenny Archer did. You know.
Yeah, she's a great woman.
I love her to death, man. Like, you know, I know some people feel whatever they felt, whatever with her, whatever. Well, I could stand by her from the start. Because when I first wheelchair raced, everyone said, "Oh, she's like," mate. That is a very certified person, and she helps a lot of people. Because there's few rumors, oh, she only helped people who are talented or whatever. She didn't know if I was talented or not. She liked the fact that I was hungry, and she knew that this guy invested in himself for a chair. So you know what? If he does that, I can give him a little bit of my time to see if he's really serious about it. Yeah. And then she changed my life 360. Out of anybody, I would say that. Out of family, whatever, like obviously a family, whatever, but she definitely made me be who I am, where I'm chatting to you like this right now, for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. You guys are doing amazing things are going on at We're Archer, honestly. But yeah, it's good.
Man. Good. Everyone's doing good, man. You know, definitely.
So I thought before we finish, if anybody's got any questions,
cool.
Answer. So I'm gonna have a look at the comments to see if we've got any questions.
Yeah, I know there's loads. I didn't want to get caught up in it. I want to be looking at you. I don't want to be rude. What they got there?
Let's see. Stupid question. How come UK sport isn't funding wheelchairs? It's hard though. I mean, it's hard to fund everybody with wheelchairs. I mean, there's also charities that do provide funding. I guess everybody's got different situations, funding, equipment.
Yeah, I'll tell you like it's my honest opinion, because I'm an ambassador for a company called My AFK, and what they do is that they help people under 24 to get employment and also to fund them for wheelchairs, right? And to answer your question, from my opinion, is that it's like, look at football. Everyone says they get paid millions to play a ball, right? And people say that's too much. But look how much money people make off that exposure. You buy their T-shirts, we fund it, we support it. Remember, Paralympic sports, in my opinion, is not big like Olympics. Like my biggest question I saw one time, I saw in a paper, Mo Farah gets a certain amount of millions, David Weir got such and such. But he still had the same amount of coverage as he did. But because it's not exposed enough, people don't see it. Sounds bad. People think, I don't dig in my pockets to fund it more. And I think that is the problem, where there can be a lot of raw talent. You see it when you get selected to represent the country or whatever you're doing. Some people in the racing world, I was like, well, how are you going so-and-so? Like, well, I'm sure I'm even faster than you, but cool, say. But it's about people who can see that, you know, opportunities. And if you feel like there's not enough coverage on it, they're not going to fund it. So funding gets cuts. So then people can't even get a chance to do sport. Because think about it, I got my wheelchair off my own back. If I didn't, I would have had no chance. Because I didn't even know there was chances out there.
I think it's a shame as well when finance is a barrier, because a lot of people are talented, and finance is getting in the way, it just isn't fair, you know.
That happened to me, but I had to stop. I had to make a
Yeah,
choice. Hold on, I'm getting sports aid funding, which is cool, and I was very grateful when I got it. But I pay for everything myself all this time, so I'm kind of reversing myself, shall we say? And I got a kid coming. Now a lot of people, when I stopped doing it, a lot of people were disappointed. Or they thought, "Oh, why is he not doing it? Typical, you weren't serious," and all this BS, but you'll never say to my face, unfortunately. So I can correct it. But it was the fact that I couldn't afford to physically do it anymore. And it sounds bad, but then I'm seeing people doing it, whatever, and you go Paralympics, but it's like, what happens after that? Some people get sponsored, like say yourself might be sponsored or whatever, and some people don't, whatever. But it seemed like it was a battle that I put a lot of years and time into, and I got a lot of experiences out of it, traveling, etc., etc. This, at the end of the day, money ain't everything, but money's a big part of it. You need to have if you want to live a certain life in general. You wouldn't just get a £5 grand wheelchair by just being a cool guy. Now you got to get your money and buy that. And I think that's what, yeah. So to answer that question, I think, yeah, just awareness, more exposure. If it was big like football on TV every weekend, like the professional pro basketball players, wheelchair basketball players do in Europe, you probably get more of a chance. But unfortunately, yeah, it's not like that.
cool. So we've got like 4 minutes before it'll cut off, but I guess we could carry on afterwards. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other questions. Hilmi, our sport gets more expensive each year. How do you think people that can't afford it, be it international trips like Switzerland going forward?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think people? Yeah, that's tough. It's tough because Switzerland is expensive. Going to competitions is really expensive.
Yeah, man, I've been there twice, man.
It's tough. I mean, I know Kadina and I spoke about possibly maybe there needs to be, I don't know, maybe a fund or something to support
Yeah,
para athletes, or at least people that maybe are struggling in that area. Because
yeah,
finance shouldn't be a barrier like we've spoken about.
no, but yeah. To answer that question, I feel like me, I play ice hockey for I want to develop program or whatever with GP and Sledge Ice Hockey, and we all got to self fund everything we do. We ain't got no funding right now, right? So obviously we have meetings on how we can do fundraising or we can do this and do these kind of things. But yeah, it does. It feels like you're going in loops and loops because it feels like if I'm gonna represent my country to go and play a sport, which is great, obviously we're gonna have that hunger, desire as disabled people who's hunger for opportunity to try and find the money, but it doesn't always work like that. Now, ice hockey, for example, is cheap, way cheap to me compared to wheelchair racing. You know, you buy a sledge for £1 grand max, and then you just buy a sticks, but it's nowhere near that level. But we still struggle to kind of make ends meet to be able to do these type of things and whatnot. And again, I just feel like anything, it's about pot, it's about having a pot of money and saying, oh, let's put a bit more money into this. You saw it with the Rio Olympics, with the able-bodied people got this amount, and then when it comes to disabled, you couldn't go to the podium because of this and that and that and that because of cutting the money. And that's what I was like, Jesus, wow. And I think that's what broke me to say I'm not racing anymore. I'm not burning my shoulders out like that, and I can't go to a podium if I ever get a chance to because the money ain't there and all these kind of things. It's like equal opportunities and putting equal investments into these things.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
more like, yeah.
No, it's true, yeah. Okay, so it says, we've got 2 minutes. Hopefully we can answer Kadina's question.
Yeah, quick.
But thank you so much, everybody, for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. You know, you're doing wicked. It's a great thing what you're doing. I'm glad to be on it. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Let's see what the kind of. You can't buy every athlete spikes and blocks. I know it's different, but unfortunately there isn't the funds for it. And who do you pick to get one? Yeah, exactly. So like we're talking about with UK sport, exactly. More needs to be done, but it is really tough to fund everybody. This sport is just really expensive.
I just think they should just basically look at people who have been working the hardest. Because sometimes people can get funding, and yeah, it's cool. But what are the ones who really work hard, double harder than that other person does, because they really want it. But they don't, why don't you try and fund them instead then? You know, it's just not saying picking sides, but you know, it's like when you do good at school, the one who's really bust their balls, give them some credit.
Yeah.
Because some people have got finances, they've got parents who've got money and everything, so they don't take a sport that serious. But because they're naturally good, for example, they can go through the doors, and you have somebody naturally talented but have the funding, and then, you know.
Yeah. Okay, we've got 40 seconds. One more question. We can do it.
Yeah, one more. Come on.
We're sprinters, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of help or support do you think we can help the Black disabled community in developing countries? I spoke to Anne Fuller Strike. Check that one. She's got some amazing charities.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about that, so I don't want to say something I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much for talking to me.
Pleasure, man. Thank you for having me,
Well,
man.
let's
And you're
do
doing
this
so well,
again.
man. Yeah, definitely. And keep doing what you're doing. And I'm telling you from afar, like, proud of you, man.
Thank
Serious.
you.
You're a good representation. Trust me. Seriously, I'm proud of what you're doing, man. Keep it up. And everyone watching as well, obviously.